using decimal parts of numbers. We've got lots of situations where there's a decimal in a number with units, such as 2.7 hours or $21.80, and we need to explain what that means. And in situations where we talk about 1.5 hours, that 0.5 doesn't just easily translate to 50 minutes or even 5 minutes. 0.5 of an hour is half an hour, which is 30 minutes. So we need to make sure we understand what all the decimal parts mean in common measurements. So of course in money, the first two decimal points mean cents. So 1645, the 0.45 is 45 cents. If we saw something like 21.8 though, we wouldn't say that's 8 cents. We'd know there needs to be a zero on the end of it, and that would mean 80 cents. I got ahead of myself there. 16.45 meters. The 0.45 in the meters means 45 centimeters. So you know that there's 100 centimeters in a meter, 100, 2 zeros, so the first two decimal places of a meter refers to the centimeters. Or if we prefer, we could do the working 0.45 times 100, because there's 100 centimeters in a meter, and that's 45 centimeters. $21.80, as we said, even if they left off the zero, we'd know to put the zero in because we need the first two decimal places for cents. 0.80 is 80 cents. Should put a dollar sign there. 21.8 kilometers. Now there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer, so the first three decimal places in kilometers refer to the meters, which means either we can say, I see the 0.8, I know there'd be two zeros after it, 0.8 kilometers is 800 meters, or I could do the working, 0.8 kilometers, remember we're just looking at what the decimal part means here, times 1,000, because there's 1,000 meters in a kilometer, 800 meters. So I don't mind if you show the working, or if you use your knowledge of these units to just write the answer. In 6.2 meters, what does the 0.2 mean? Remembering, we can either do 0.2 times 100, because there's 100 centimeters in a meter, to get 20 centimeters, or we can say that we know the first two decimal places are the centimeters in meters, so that would be 0.2 meters is 20 centimeters. So it's whether you know it or whether you want to work it out is fine. Now when we're looking at time in hours and minutes, we've got an option on the calculator, or we can do our working. So 2.7 hours in hours and minutes. We know we've got 2 hours, we just need to work out what the decimal part is. So 0.7 hours, if you want, you can do the working in the same way that we did before. How many minutes in an hour? There's 60. So we times by 60, 0.7 times 60, to discover that that 0.7 is 42 minutes. So 2.7 hours is 2 hours and 42 minutes. Or there is a button on the calculator. Now it's a bit weird because it's in under angle, because angles have 60 degrees, and so angles and hours and minutes work the same way. So if you enter it in as a decimal and then do the second function, angle, and scroll down until you get to DMS and hit enter, and enter again, I've got 42 in there for. I need 2.7. 2.7, second function angle, scroll down to DMS, 2.7, DMS, 2, 42. So that gave us the 2 hours and 42 minutes. It's saying degrees because angles work the same way. So 2.7 hours is 2 hours, 42 minutes. So you can use this method on the calculator if you want, or you can remember that you take the decimal part and times it by 60. We also need to be able to deal with time in days, months, and years. So writing 2.67 years as years and months. We do the same thing. The 2 years is easy. We only have to work out the decimal part. So 0.67 years. How many months in a year? 12. We multiply by 12. 0.67 times 12. 8.04. We can round to the nearest month. So that's 8 months. So 2.67 years is 2 years, because we always know the whole amount, and 8 months. So the strategy with what the decimal part is worth is always the same. Take just the decimal part and multiply it by how many of the smaller unit fits into the big unit. We've been doing that the whole time. Take the decimal part, 0.45. How many centimetres fit into a metre? 100. Multiply it by 100. Write 1.6 months as months and days. So here I'm going to write our steps just in case we need it. Take the decimal part, and then multiply by how many of the small unit fit into the big unit. So my decimal part, 0.6 times, now how many days fit into a month? We're going to say it's 30 days in a month. I know it varies, but 30 days in a month is easiest. So 0.6 times 30, 0.6 times 30, that's 18 days. Now that's just the 0.6, because we wanted 1 month in the months. So 1.6 months equals 1 month, because the whole bit is easy, and 18 days. Always the same steps.